Whew, what a wild ride it has been with Lana all these years. Hi, my name is Charles, and today I'm going to be ranking all of Lana Del Rey's albums. I'm including Paradise, even though I don't know if that technically counts as an album or if it's like an EP. But anyway, I'm including Paradise, so I'm going to be ranking all 8 of her albums. And I gotta say, I am surprised with the trajectory. I said that word right after like struggling there for a second, but I said it right. But anyway, I'm surprised with how far Lana Del Rey has come in her career because if you asked me in high school when she like debuted if I would be a big fan of hers, I would be like, no. Granted, I'm still not the biggest fan of hers, but I am a fan of her work. Like, I have to say, ever since I got into her work has just gotten better and better. But in contrast, the aesthetics and looks she's been giving out as time has gone on has been less and less. So I don't know what that's about, but okay, Lana. I really got into Lana Del Rey during my freshman year of college during winter because I was very depressed. And I remember like semi listening to some of her music in high school, and I was like, this is some depressing music. So I thought to myself, let's just listen to Lana's albums now. And I really got attached to her after listening to those albums of hers. I think there were only 3 or 4 albums of hers out. I think maybe Honeymoon was out by then, by 2015, but I think it was. But I really got into Lana in that time period, and ever since then I've been like, okay, I guess I'll support. And I have been getting increased returns. I mean, like maybe one album in like the later albums after Honeymoon did not really meet up to all the other albums she released, but other than that one album, everything else has been pretty great. I've only seen Lana once in concert, and it was for her Norman fucking Rockwell tour, and that I have a story to tell about that, but I'll get to that when I get to that album in this ranking. Anyways, Lana has 8 albums, and let's just get into it. Let's get in and start ranking her albums. And once again, this is my opinion, so if you don't like it, that should be fine, but yeah, don't be mean about it. Okay, at number 8, I have to put down Honeymoon, and I double checked real fast, and it did come out in 2015, so it does coincide with when I first started listening to her music, and I'm pretty sure this was the first album I listened to of hers, and I gotta say, this album, it does kind of stick out as a sore thumb, in my opinion, among her whole discography. I know Lana has slow music, like basically all her songs are slow tempo, but the songs on Honeymoon really had that power to put me to sleep. Like, even the opening song, Honeymoon, it's a beautiful song, but I just want to go to sleep every time I listen to it. Honestly, from Religion down on the track list, I could not tell you what those songs sounded like. I've heard this album a good many times, and I still cannot tell you what each song sounds like after Religion, even Religion down. I cannot tell you how any of those songs sound like or the lyrics for any of those songs. And one of the songs is a cover of Nina Simone's song. I think it's Black Swan. Is that the correct one? But anyway, I cannot remember any of them because I think the second half of this album is really, it just does not stick at all. And it doesn't help that the songs all kind of sound the same from what I can recall, which isn't much, as I said, so maybe I should revisit this album. But I really do think that the first half of this album is the strongest part of the album, and then it just really falls off afterwards. Seriously, Honeymoon, music to watch the boys to, God Knows I Tried, High by the Beach, Freak, Art Deco. Ooh, she really freaked it with all those songs. All those songs, I'm just like, yes, Lana, you did that. But as I said, the rest of the album, I'm just like, sorry, but I couldn't tell you we're playing if you were playing and someone played you on Spotify or something. I'd be like, oh, is that Lana? What song is this? Because I just, they just don't stick with me at all. The first music video I ever saw was High by the Beach, and that will always be a special music video to me because I do think it's such a beautiful music video, and I just love the way it ends with Lana like pulling out that huge gun and being like, "Bye paparazzi," and like destroying that helicopter, and her being like, "Yeah, and I did that." Okay, moving on to number 7, I have Chemtrails Over the Country Club, and first off, I gotta say the cover artwork for this album is not it. Someone on Twitter posted alternative cover artwork that they made, and that's like the artwork I use for the album, like when I edit it on iTunes, and I'm just like, Lana. The artwork has been getting lazy from Chemtrails and up, I'm just saying. Anyways, when I reacted to Chemtrails Over the Country Club when it came out, I generally had good, like, vibes for the album, but as time has gone on and I've listened to the album, I really just can't get past, like, the first, like, 4 or 5 songs. After that, I'm just like, I don't feel like listening to this. It's not that the songs are bad or anything after, like, the first 4 or 5, but I'm just not interested because, in Honeymoon, I said I can't really tell you what the last half of the album from Religion Down sounds like, but for like the rest of the songs after song 5 here, I know what they sound like. It's just like I just don't have any interest in listening to the songs, and I kind of just feel like skipping them. So it's sad because I do think they are good songs, but they're just not songs I feel like listening to at all. Honestly, I really only listen to White Dress, Chemtrails Over the Country Club, Jesus Tulsa Freak, and Let Me Love You Like a Woman off this album. Everything else, I'm just like, okay, thanks, Lana. Next album. And, she did really give us another album real fast. So clearly, I think she maybe just needed more time because I think that some of the songs on here, they're nice, but they did not need to see the light of day. Like, Yosemite was supposed to be on Lust for Life, and you can tell because it's like a happier song, but at the same time, I just don't think the production on that song slaps. So it's like, you needed the Lust for Life production for that song to work, and you didn't. You gave it the production of this song, not this song, this album. So it's more downbeat, and it's like, Jack Antonoff, sometimes he works, sometimes he does not. Okay, moving on to number 6 on my list, which for me would be Paradise. I really don't know if people consider this an EP or an album, but I consider it an album. It has 9 songs, and technically, for me, it has 10 because I include Young and Beautiful into this, so it has 10 songs, and that sounds like an album to me, and it's pretty long, so I'm like, yes, this is an album, and it is number 6 for me on her discography. What can I say about this? It's a pretty good album. I really like all the songs. Songs 7 through 9, I think it's Yayo, Bel Air, and Burning Desire. I haven't listened to the songs in a long time, so I can't really say anything about those songs, but all the other songs in this album are amazing. They're great. And my friend at the time, she used to always talk about Lana Del Rey's song Cola, and she used to like quote that song all the time. And I was like, girl, my God, when will this stop? So I'm very acquainted with that song. But honestly, this album gets so many points just for having Gods and Monsters on it because that song is top tier songs of all time. Like, not even just for Lana's best songs, but one of my favorite songs of all time. It is just an amazing song. As I said, I include Young and Beautiful on this album, and it must be said that Lana Del Rey was robbed of an Oscar nomination for this song because she made it for The Great Gatsby, and it really enhances that movie, and it is just a beautiful song in general, so I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened that made her not get nominated, but she should have been nominated and won that Oscar because Young and Beautiful is a beautiful song, and I cry thinking about, like, The Great Gatsby every time I listen to it. And also, it's just a beautiful song. The lyrics are just beautiful, and her vocals are beautiful, so, whew, my God, Young and Beautiful, Young and Beautiful. When Lana says, all that grace, all that body, all that face makes me want to party. He's my son, he makes me shine like diamonds. Art, beautiful. That should have won her the Oscar alone. Crazy that she didn't get nominated. It is crazy. It is robbery. As I said, I think all the songs on this album are amazing. But as I said, Yayo to Burning Desire, those 3 songs, I don't remember what they sound like because I haven't listened to them in a while. So I should re-listen to them. But they probably are great. But this, honestly, is just a stunning piece of work. And I think she really needed it after Born to Die and the bad reception that got initially. So, I don't know how this was perceived at the time, but I remember when I was listening to it, when I was listening to her whole discography in freshman year of college, when I was depressed, I was like, I am really feeling this, especially Gods and Monsters. I was like, you really are capturing what I'm feeling, Lana. Okay, at number 5, I have Born to Die, her first album, and it's crazy how this album was so hated when it came out by critics, but it was recently just reappraised by Pitchfork, and they gave it like, what, a 7.8 or something like that. And I was like, Y'all, it is a good album. And sure, this might be the album I visit least when it comes to Lana Del Rey's albums next to Honeymoon, but I do think that she has a lot of incredible songs in this album, which is why I had to put it so high on the ranking because I was like, it has a lot of huge bops on it. Honestly, if you could pinpoint an era that Lana Del Rey was really trying with aesthetics and all that, it would be this era, her Born to Die era, because she was serving looks, her music videos, she was just doing interesting things, and after Born to Die, it just seemed like we were getting diminishing returns with what she was presenting, like visual wise, look wise. Because now we are getting Cole's Lana. We are getting Cole's Lana. She's wearing a t shirt, a jacket, and some jeans, and she said, "Yep, turn on the camera." And I'm like, okay, how did we go from Born to Die aesthetics to this, girl? How did we? How did we? But you know what? It's fine. It's fine because the music rocks, so you get a pass. This really is a revolutionary album looking back at it now because when she released this, I don't think anyone really was doing the sounds that she was doing. I mean, not anyone in like the kind of pop sphere, but now it's more commonplace. And I think it has to do with Lana, and she was ridiculed and all that. Her SNL performance was not good, not good at all. But you know what? She paved the way for other people like Billie Eilish, so this album and Lana deserve a lot of credit. As I said, I don't really listen to this album often, but I do like the songs, but I only really listen to Off to the Races and Summertime Sadness and Without You and Dark Paradise. Those four songs are the only ones I really like go back when I listen to this album and take off of from my playlist. So I'm sorry to all the other songs, y'all are good, but those four are the only ones that I'm just like, yep, turn that stuff up because I want to listen to that. Okay, moving on to number 4 on the list, it would have to be Lust for Life for me. And this was the first Lana Del Rey album that I had hopped on from the very start. Like, I was anticipating her lead single and I was following her from this point on, and I was like up until midnight waiting. Okay, maybe not midnight because I live in the West Coast, so more like 9 p.m. waiting for the album to drop, and then I listened to the whole thing. And yeah, this really is the first Lana Del Rey album that I got to experience as someone who was really into Lana Del Rey. I don't know, maybe I like this album because it's called Lust for Life, and you can really feel that Lana's like not really in that down depressed mood that she was in from, Born to Die to Honeymoon. It just feels like she really is feeling life. She's loving life. It's given me Florence and the Machine, High as Hope. That's the album's name. It is really, I really do love it when artists are like depressed for a long time and then they have their album where it's like, you know what? Fuck that. I want to live. I want to enjoy life. And that's really what this album to me is kind of about. So that's why I love it so much. Is it a bloated album? Yes. And I would cut some songs. I would cut some songs toward the end especially, but I can almost like sing every song on this album like from front to back. So that just tells you how much I listen to this album. If Lana just trimmed some of the songs off this album, the album would be more concise and tighter, and I would put it much more higher on my ranking. But as I said, it does feel a little too long, and some of the songs off the second half of the album could have went. I'm not saying they're bad songs, it's just that I don't think they add to the album in a whole, if you know what I mean. So it's just like, sorry, but y'all should go. Like, she cut Yosemite from this album, and maybe that was right to do as well. Maybe that was right to do because I can't picture where in the track list it would be anyway. So maybe that song should just not have seen the light of day. There are no songs on this album that I don't like. Every single one of them, I just looked at the track list and I was like, no, I really do like each song. And I know the majority or all the lyrics for each song. So this album, I would put higher, but I'm just saying it could be more cohesive and more concise, so I have to put it lower than the other albums that are left. But it is my favorite album and the one I listen to the most, so that just has to be noted. Okay, at number 3 on my ranking, I would have to put Blue Bannisters, Lana's most recent album. And I was gonna do a reaction video to the album when it came out, but I wasn't feeling well when the album came out, so I did not want to even attempt to try to make a video for that. So I just listened to it by myself, and I gotta say, I was really surprised with what Lana delivered with this album. Initially, with the songs that she released before the album came out, I wasn't really feeling any of them. I don't know why, I just wasn't feeling any of them. But for some reason, in the context of the album as a whole, they really all clicked with me, and I was like, oh, never mind, these are actually all really good songs. And then when the rest of the album came through, I was like, oh, she really snapped with this album. It really felt like Chemtrails Over the Country Club was just an appetizer for Blue Bannisters, and it kind of made me question that if we just took some of the songs from, Chemtrails Over the Country Club and Blue Bannister and put them together, it would be an even stronger album. But I guess because both albums are kind of tackling two different things, Chemtrails Over the Country Club more about fame and how she doesn't like what fame has done to her, and Blue Bannister is more, I don't know, because Blue Bannister has songs that were supposed to be on Ultraviolence, so it's like, but then some of the songs are about right now, so, I don't know, but I feel like there was a way to make, a combination album of the songs from Blue Bannister and the songs from Chemtrails Over the Country Club to make a better album, you know? Seriously, I listen to this album all the time since it's come out. It's been raining here in Washington a lot. It's been rainy, it's been gloomy, and right now the sun's kind of out, which is why I'm filming, but I don't know. It's not a sad album, but the way it just sounds like it does deserve to be played when it's rainy or gloomy, and it really just fits the mood, and I don't know. I just find myself crying sometimes when I listen to some of the songs because of how beautiful the lyrics are and how beautiful Lana's vocals sound. It has to be said that Lana really went off with Blue Bannisters, Beautiful, Violets for Roses, and Cherry Blossom. Those four songs in particular, they take me to another level when I'm listening to them. They are just so beautiful, and I'm just so enraptured by them when they're playing. Ooh, it makes me want to get like really good earphones just so I can really be immersed in those songs. Everything else on the album is really good as well, but those four songs in particular are my favorite songs. I mean, I like Arcadia a lot too, and also Nectar of the Gods, but those four songs really are just the first four that I really just want to listen to right from the start. Okay, let's move on to number 2 on the list, and for me, her second best album would have to be Ultraviolence. This and Norman fucking Rockwell are always jockeying in my mind for which is album 1 and album 2. But at this moment in time, I really do have to say that Ultraviolence is number 2. And oh my god, Ultraviolence is such a strong and hard-hitting album that it kind of really is the one I would prefer to be number 1. But at the same time, I'm like, no, Norman fucking Rockwell did that. Also, looking back on the track list, I'm like, yes, only about 2/3 of this album I really do think are strong. The other third is kind of forgettable, but the 2/3 of the album that I think are strong are so strong that it makes me forgive the 1/3 of the album that I'm just like, eh. The way that Cruel World all the way to Fucked My Way Up to the Top is all perfect. Wow. I mean, all the songs from Cruel World to Fucked My Way Up to the Top cannot be clocked. They are just powerful. I just love all the songs in that like track listing, but everything after Fucked My Way Up to the Top, I'm kind of just like about. Honestly, West Coast and Ultraviolence, the titular song, are the two songs from this album that send me into another universe when I listen to them. So this album gets to be so high, not only because songs 1 through 9 of this album are so strong, but because those two songs in particular really take me to another plane of existence. Lana was really in her angsty, depression, bad girl era with this album, and I was eating it all up, especially when I was depressed. I was like, yes, this is me. Okay, so it's no surprise, as I've already said earlier when I was talking about Ultraviolence, but my number 1 album of Lana's would have to be Norman fucking Rockwell. It really just is a perfect album. It's weird because I'd rather just listen to the album as a whole than try to listen to any of the songs individually. I mean, I only listened to 2 songs individually without listening to the whole album, and it would be Fuck It, I Love You and The Greatest. Everything else, I would rather listen to the whole album as a whole because it works so much better as a whole. It's kind of like Blue Bannister and also Blue Bannister, Blue Bannisters, and also Lust for Life. Those albums feel stronger when you listen to them as a whole, and with Norman fucking Rockwell, I usually just listen to it as a whole because as a whole it is a really strong piece of work. I honestly have nothing bad to say about this album. It is pretty much a perfect album. Every song seems very much needed for this album to work. And yeah, she honestly should have won Album of the year this album was nominated, but they didn't give it to her. They didn't even really nominate her for much more than just the album itself. And also, is it what would it be? Was it what was the song that she was nominated for? Was it Mariner's Apartment Complex? Let me think about it real fast. Actually, I think it was Norman fucking Rockwell, the titular song that was nominated for like a song nomination or whatever. But I'm pretty sure she only had like 2 or 3 nominations for this album, which is a travesty because it deserved more, and she deserved to win Album of the Year with this album. So it is annoying because I don't know. I just felt like at that point when Norman fucking Rockwell came out, the narrative for Lana from being mocked and ridiculed to becoming someone who people actually respected was a good enough narrative with a really strong album to get her that win. But when she didn't win, I was like, huh, this sucks. Oh, let me tell you my whole story about her concert that I was at, her Norman fucking Rockwell concert, because I went to go watch her for the only time I've seen her on this tour, and I had to wait outside the concert venue for almost 2 hours. I don't know why it was taking them long to let people in, but it was taking them forever to let people in. And I had drunk a lot of water, like while I was eating dinner before I went to go to the venue to watch her. So imagine, like, around the half-hour mark, you're like, okay, I kind of need to pee, but I don't want to lose my space in line, so I'm just gonna wait. And then like the hour mark comes, and you're like, I kind of need to pee. And then the hour and a half mark happens, and you're like, I'm about to piss myself. And by that 2 hour mark, when I was almost at the door, I was ready to either drop on the floor and pee my pants, like seriously, like Maya Rudolph style in Bridesmaid when she shit in the street. I was ready to just do that, but pee myself. Or I saw bottles on the floor, and I was ready to just pick up one of those bottles and tie my jacket around my waist and like pee right there, or just run out into an alley somewhere and like pee. But I got inside just in time, and then I like bolted awkwardly to the bathroom, and then it was a long time that I was in the bathroom, and I was like, ooh, Lana, this better be good for me almost getting a UTI, girl. And all I gotta say is Lana was serving Cole's looks, and she was serving swaying, and she was serving not singing some of the songs I wanted her to sing. But I was like, okay, Lana, okay, sure. My friend was so rabid to be close near Lana that she left me. She and the other person that was with us, like, went up closer, like they fought the crowd to get closer to the stage, and I was just like, y'all, this ain't for me. I ain't trying to do that, but y'all go ahead and do that. Okay, and with that, I have finally finished ranking all of Lana Del Rey's albums. Wow, all 8 albums. Interesting journey Lana has gone through, but I think that she's in a pretty cool place creatively, so I can't wait to see what else she's going to deliver. I really hope she takes some time to give us something more cohesive, because Blue Banisters is great, but just saying, you released 2 albums, and it feels like both of them could have been one album if you maybe assorted some of the songs better. I don't know, but I just feel like just take some time for your next album because you could use some time. Oh, I forgot to say my favorite songs from each album, so let me do that real quick. Let me just look real fast. So, okay, from Blue Banisters, my favorite song would have to be Beautiful. Yes, Beautiful did that. From Born to Die, I would have to say it's Dark Paradise. Dark Paradise did that. From Chemtrails Over the Country Club, it would have to be White Dress, because White Dress is just beautiful. It's beautiful. And Honeymoon, I want to say High by the Beach, but part of me wants to say Freak or Art Deco. But I need to. You're so Art Deco. I do think that I have to go with High by the Beach. Love freaking Art Deco, but I think High by the Beach is the right choice for Honeymoon. For Lust for Life, my favorite song is honestly gotta be Get Free. I listen to that song all the time. It really encapsulates the whole album. And moving on to Norman fucking Rockwell, Fuck It, I Love You is my favorite song on this album. And Paradise, it would have to be Gods and Monsters, but if Young and Beautiful is included like I included, then maybe that would be my favorite song on the album. And with Ultraviolence, it would have to be Ultraviolence. I love West Coast, but Ultraviolence, he hit me and it felt like a kiss. Ooh, girl, the abuse. And you fantasizing about the abuse, that's sick, but I love it lyrically, so. Anyways, you guys, tell me down below in the comments what you guys thought about my ranking. Be nice. Be nice. And, tell me what you guys think of what her best to worst albums are, because there are 8. I mean, technically there are 8. I'm pretty sure there are 8. I count Paradise as an album, but I just like to see what people feel about her albums, because I don't think a lot of people like you know, Lust for Life, but I like Lust for Life. So it's always interesting to see what people think of the albums that I really like. And yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming to my channel and watching this whole video. And yeah, I'll see you guys around the next video if you're around for that. So until then, I'm gonna go now. So yes. Bye.